Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video there is lots to negotiate about. I am going to be giving you an update on some more transfer news, keep you up to date of what players are linked with Manchester United like I do on a regular basis. Obviously, on my previous video that I did today, I give you, the latest news on Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, because obviously, he's asked Arsenal to let him leave when the transfer market does reopen. I also give you the latest news on Kalidou Koulibaly and that. So yeah, I'll keep you up to date as much as I can. So on this video, I am going to be giving you a bit more additional information on Harry Kane. I have been talking with you about Harry Kane on a regular basis. Also going to be talking with you a bit more about Jude Bellingham. I'm going to be giving you some news on James Rodriguez. So the first topic I'm going to start with is Harry Kane. So I think it's very unlikely that Manchester United will sign Harry Kane when the transfer window does reopen. Got to make an admission, I'm very sceptical that we'll get Harry Kane in the summer transfer window. Maybe, we could get him at some point in the future, and that's if, he is still at Tottenham. Now, I've just been reading in the Daily Express, and they've actually revealed that Harry Kane's preference would be a move to Manchester United over Real Madrid, because maybe Harry Kane wants to continue plying his trade in the Premier League, because he has been in the Premier League for several years. Now, also to another media outlet, said actually that Daniel Levy, the Tottenham chairman, could contact Ed Woodward over the possibility of signing Harry Kane, but I don't think Ed Woodward will probably respond to this, because I just don't think Manchester United will sign him when the transfer window does reopen. Now, obviously, last month Harry Kane had come out and made an admission, like he updated you on, and he did say he could decide to leave Tottenham if he feels as though they are failing to match his ambition. And of course, Harry Kane has revealed his ambition, and his ambition is to win silverware, and he's not experienced any of this during his career so far with Tottenham. And like I said, Harry Kane was in Tottenham's youth academy for around 4 or 5 years, and he's been in their senior squad since 2011. Definitely Tottenham's best player. And Harry Kane has 181 goals in all competitions and around 136 Premier League goals in just under 200 Premier League appearances. So actually, Harry Kane is Tottenham's third highest goal scorer in their history. But he did actually reveal that he will not stay at Tottenham for the sake of it. Now, we've been relentlessly linked with Harry Kane. I think we've been in for Kane for the last, 5 years or so. I think the first time we expressed our interest in Harry Kane was back under the Louis van Gaal era. Now, I've just been reading Sky Sports as well, which is also a very reliable source. And this is James Cooper who's come out with this, and he's actually a Sky Sports reporter, and he believes that Manchester United have no interest in signing Harry Kane. Now, Tottenham have confirmed, they've given their overarching view on it and that, and Daniel Levy has agreed that Tottenham will let Harry Kane go on one condition, and that's if their £200 million asking price is met. Tottenham want a world record fee of £200 million. So if we was to pay £200 million for Kane, that would make him the joint most expensive player in the world, because the most expensive player in the world at the moment is Neymar, who PSG paid around £200 million for. But I'm just very sceptical that Manchester United will pay up to £200 million for Harry Kane. Now, I know we're known for overpaying for players in recent years, and we have actually been criticised for that, and our recruitment policy's been poor in the last 6 years or so. But I've got to be honest, I think we've improved in the transfer market under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. What I mean is, I think we've been a bit more sensible with our recruitment. But look at the players we've overpaid for. £89 million for Paul Pogba, £75 million for Lukaku when we got him from Everton back in 2017. £50 million for Fred, £40 million for Matic, £80 million for Harry Maguire last summer. So we are known for overpaying for players. And don't get me wrong, I think Harry Kane would be a great addition to the squad if he was to come to Manchester United. And a lot of people do believe he can make us into title contenders. Maybe Man United, if we was to sign Jadon Sancho, could that possibly convince Harry Kane to come to the football club? Now, of course, Harry Kane's still got around 4 years remaining on his current contract with Tottenham, because he's under contract with them until 2024. back in the summer of 2018, like I've mentioned before numerous times, he signed a 6-year deal with around £200,000 a week. So he actually did commit his long-term future with Tottenham. And Harry Kane is injury prone, so that's an element of concern I've got about him. He has been out of injury, I think, since New Year's Day as Harry Kane. He's had an hamstring injury since New Year's Day as the player. But like I've said to you before, these much cheaper solutions than Harry Kane. And there's other strikers now, you've got Timo Werner, that's a much cheaper solution than him. You've got Aubameyang, that's a much cheaper solution than him. You've got Erling Haaland, that'd be a cheaper solution than Harry Kane. So you've just got to put that into the equation. But we're looking for an adequate replacement for Romelu Lukaku, because obviously Manchester United didn't replace him last summer. And also revert back to last summer as well, we didn't replace Ander Herrera. So let's just put that into the equation. So Real Madrid have been long admirers of Harry Kane, like I mentioned. Real Madrid, of course, are looking to do more transfer business when the transfer market does reopen. Of course, Real Madrid did recruit around, 6 players in last summer and spent, 2 or 300 odd million pounds. Of course, they got Eden Hazard in last summer from Chelsea. They also got Luka Jovic in. They also got Eden Militao in. They got Ferland Mendy in, and they also got Rodrigo in. And I think, if I'm right, they got somebody else in, did Real Madrid. But so they are also looking to offload more players in Madrid, like I mentioned. They're obviously looking to get rid of Dani Ceballos on a permanent transfer. I think Madrid have said they want around £40 million for him. They're also looking to get rid of Gareth Bale. They're also looking to get rid of James Rodriguez. They're also, Benzema, Karim Benzema, he's coming to the end of his career, so I presume he will be moving on very, very soon. They're unhappy with Luka Jovic, because since his arrival from Frankfurt last summer, hasn't exceeded expectations at Real Madrid. So Real Madrid, of course, are going to offload quite a few players. Also too, it said that Juventus had expressed an interest in Kane, and so too did Manchester City. So I'm not going to fully disregard Harry Kane coming to Man United, but I just don't think Manchester United will sign him when the transfer window does reopen. Harry Kane is only the age of 26, so he has still got a lot of years ahead of him. Now, like I mentioned to you about Daniel Levy before, he is a very, very hard negotiator when it comes to recruiting players from Tottenham. But to be fair, Daniel Levy is a very, very good businessman. I don't think he's had talks yet with Ed Woodward, but maybe talks will go on between both of them. Now, of course, Tottenham really wouldn't want to lose Harry Kane, and this is why they are demanding so much for him, because obviously don't forget, back in January, Tottenham lost Christian Eriksen to Inter Milan after Christian Eriksen endured 7 years with Tottenham. Danny Rose, of course, also went out on loan to Newcastle. Bale left them back in 2013 for Real Madrid for 85 million. They also lost Luka Modric to Real Madrid. So Tottenham wouldn't really want to lose Harry Kane. They really wouldn't want to lose Harry Kane and that. But the saga does still continue to happen. So I was just drinking my drink there. It still continues to happen. And by the way, Tottenham do want to ease their financial worries, because like I mentioned to you before, Tottenham are still paying for their £1 billion stadiums. So like I mentioned, I think they are 630 odd million on the stadium loan and around 83 million in transfer fees. Tottenham can't win anything, by the way, in terms of silverware this season, because they're not in the FA Cup, and of course they are not in the Champions League, so they can't win anything in terms of silverware. But I think Tottenham made a mistake by recommending Jose Mourinho win and getting rid of Mauricio Pochettino last year. By the way, it's actually said that Pochettino has been, Tottenham have been in negotiations with Pochettino over him taking a pay cut on his 8.5 million a year salary. But Pochettino did enjoy 5.5 years with Tottenham. So that's all the latest news on Harry Kane. Now I am going to delve into the news on James Rodriguez from Real Madrid. So the news is on James Rodriguez from Real Madrid. I've just been reading recent reports, and it does confirm that George Mendes, who's James Rodriguez's agent, he's contacted Manchester United over the transfer of James Rodriguez. So he's basically contacted us to see if we're interested in, launching a bid in for the player. Now, I think James Rodriguez is available for around 30 odd, in the 30 odd million pound range. I think is available. Real Madrid did pay around 63 million pounds in from Monaco back in 2014. And now, of course, he's been a long-serving player at Madrid. I think he's been at Madrid like 5 or 6 years. Don't forget, James Rodriguez had a 2-year loan with Bayern Munich. There's not only been Man United that have been in for James Rodriguez. There's also Arsenal, Everton and Napoli that have expressed their interest in James Rodriguez. But I think at least in the last couple of years, James Rodriguez has been served his 2 requirements at Real Madrid. Again, I'm very, very sceptical that Manchester United will sign him when the transfer window does reopen. But I think we've inquired about James Rodriguez availability before. I think he's like 28 years of age. James Rodriguez can play as an attacking midfielder, and he can also play as a winger. And I think he's actually best with his left foot is James Rodriguez. I think he's actually pretty good at creating chances. He's good at creating chances and that. And I think his actual contract does expire in the summer of 2021, which is next year. So Real Madrid, of course, would want to cash in for him this summer rather than letting go on a 3 transfer. Don't forget, of course, James Rodriguez is a former Porto player. I think he enjoyed 3 very, very good years with Porto. Won a lot of individual awards. Also won several trophies during his time with Porto. I think he's also a former Banfield player as well. When he first joined Real Madrid in his debut season in the La Liga, he was named in the La Liga Team of the Season, and I think he also won La Liga, the best midfielder in the La Liga did the player. So would you take James Rodriguez at Manchester United? We're basically seeing him as an adequate replacement if Paul Pogba is to leave the football club. But James Rodriguez so far has never ever played in the Premier League. So if he was to come to the Premier League, do you think he would succeed? So he is one midfielder on our agenda. But he's a cheap solution, so let's just put that into the equation. But like I said to you, Paul Pogba now anyway could be staying at the football club if recent reports are to be believed. So that's the news on James Rodriguez. So George Mendes has contacted Man United, to see if we're interested in putting a bid in for James Rodriguez. Now let's delve into the news on Jude Bellingham. So the news is on Jude Bellingham is that reportedly if Manchester United are to sign Jude Bellingham when the transfer window does reopen, Solskjaer wants to put him straight into the first team squad. So Solskjaer has made this admission. Now it does remain uncertain where Jude Bellingham's next club will be. I think he's expected to definitely leave Birmingham City at the end of the season. Now, I think Borussia Dortmund, by the way, have been emerged as the favourites to sign Jude Bellingham. It said there's been narratives in the mainstream media saying that Chelsea and Liverpool have also expressed their interest. Now, Jude Bellingham is rated at around 30 odd million pounds, so that's how much he's going to cost. Jude Bellingham is in his first season in the senior squad with Birmingham. Obviously, he became the youngest player to ever represent Birmingham because he made his senior debut at the age of 16 years and 38 days. So he became the youngest player to represent them, like I mentioned. But he's played persistently this season. I think he's played like 35 games for Birmingham City in all competitions this season. By the way, Jude Bellingham is expected to sign his professional contract when he does turn 17 this summer. Because he's only 16 at the moment, so he's still inexperienced, and his actual salary is on around 145 quid a week at the moment. But up until this point, Jude Bellingham has spent the entirety of his career with Birmingham. He's been a Birmingham player since the age of 8, so he's in their youth academy for a good 7 or 8 years. But reports are saying in the mainstream media now we are leading the race for Jude Bellingham. Don't forget, and that was around a good 4 or 5 weeks ago now. This was obviously, before all the football got suspended. It said that, obviously Jude Bellingham had visited our Carrington training ground to hold talks with Sir Alex Ferguson. Also to Ed Woodward met up with his parents and that. And then obviously, Jude Bellingham's recently revealed how he thought, his tour went at the Carrington training ground, and I think he really, really liked it. So that did, fuel quite a lot of speculation up. I think Jude Bellingham is predominantly number 10, by the way. But, my overarching view on it, I don't think Jude Bellingham is Premier League standard at the moment, and I don't think he's at that elite level as yet. I think he does need at least another season in the Championship to gain more experience, and get even better. But, some players who come from the Championship to the Premier League, tend to do really, really well. Don't forget we got Daniel James from Swansea last summer for around £15 million. We got Daniel James for, with add-ons included, I think it risen up to like 17 or 18 million. But yeah, reiterate what I've just said, we got him from the Championship. No one, expected him, to exceed expectations at the football club, because he'd taken a huge step in his career coming all the way from the Championship to the Premier League. But he surprised us all as Daniel James, because he has played persistently this season. To be quite honest with you, I think Solskjaer's been overplaying him. And he enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. Don't forget Daniel James scored on his Premier League debut against Chelsea, I think on the opening day of the Premier League season. He scored against Lask as well just before the season got suspended, and that was his first goal for the club since the 31st of August. Daniel James can play on the left, he can also play on the right, but you tend to see the best of Daniel James on that left-hand side. Don't get me wrong though, there's still some aspects of his game that do need to improve. His tracking back needs to improve. Probably his crossing needs to improve. If Man United are to get a winner in the summer transfer window, then maybe Daniel James then could find game time very, very difficult indeed. But we shall see. So yeah, so that's the latest news on Bellingham, and I think it said we're willing to offer him a contract worth around £30,000 a week. So we will see what happens. But yeah, he said he's going to cost us in the £30 million range. Probably will rise up to 50 million. With add-ons included. I think it did say the add-ons are around £15 million or something like that. So yeah, so that's the news on Jude Bellingham. Let's talk with you now a bit about Saul Niguez from Atletico Madrid. I have been keeping up to date of what's been going on with Saul Niguez on a regular basis. So I'm reiterating basically now what I said the other day, because it's been confirmed that Atletico Madrid could be forced to sell Saul Niguez if they fail to qualify for the Champions League for next season. Now, it did reveal that we secretly scouted Saul Niguez in Atletico Madrid's 3-2 win against Liverpool in the last 16 of the Champions League second leg. We secretly scouted him. Reportedly, we're willing to pay around £70 million for Saul Niguez, 70 million. Obviously, Atletico Madrid remain ruthless over their valuation. They want 130 odd million pounds for him, but that's his actual release clause. So we're only willing to pay half than what Atletico Madrid are demanding. And it also said that we're willing to offer him a deal worth nearly £200,000 a week. So you get around an £85,000 pay rise, because obviously at the moment he's on like 115,000 at Atletico Madrid. But yeah, Saul Niguez, back in 2017, signed a 9-year contract with Atletico Madrid. Back in 2017, he signed a 9-year contract. And as it stands at the moment, he's got 6 years remaining on his contract, because he's under contract with Atletico Madrid until 2026. But, we've been long admirers of him. I think Manchester City have also been in for Niguez before. Saul Niguez has spent the vast majority of his career with Atletico Madrid. Obviously, I think he's been at Atletico Madrid since 2008. I think he was in their youth academy a couple of years. I think this is now his 12th season in total with Atletico Madrid, and he's made nearly 300 appearances in all competitions. Saul Niguez can play as a central or a holding midfielder. When he was younger, he was predominantly a centre-half with Saul Niguez. Yes, he was in that. He was a centre-half. But yeah, it does say anyway, that Manchester United are in now for the player. But we're basically seeing him as an adequate replacement for Paul Pogba. So that's the latest news on Saul Niguez. That's the latest news on him. And Saul Niguez is 25 years of age, so he has still got a lot of years ahead of him. got a lot of years ahead of him in that. But so that's the latest on all of the transfer news. Obviously, earlier on this week I gave you the news, didn't I, on Jack Grealish. It reportedly says now that Manchester United are no longer in for Jack Grealish because Ed Woodward has revealed his preference is to get a holding midfielder instead of Jack Grealish. Obviously, if we were to get Jack Grealish, it'd cost us around 60, maybe £70 million. Don't forget, recent reports did say that Grealish is our preference over James Maddison. James Maddison's been another player on our agenda. Obviously, yesterday I gave you the news on Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho is our number one priority target for the summer. But yeah. But like I've said to you before, these are around 14 players on our agenda. But the question is, what signings, will Manchester United make? Now, Solskjaer has already revealed his plans for when, the transfer market does reopen. And Solskjaer said, he wants to make around 4 signings when the transfer market does reopen, because he does believe we need around 4 signings to become title contenders next season. And I think, we need around 4 signings. Obviously, so far, Solskjaer's been at Manchester United 16 months and he has been at the club over the year. And Solskjaer, obviously, so far has enjoyed 3 transfer windows and he's recruited 5 players in and spent around £220 million at the football club. And I've got to credit, Solskjaer, for the signings that he has made so far. But obviously, we do know we need more signings if we are, to be competitive going on into next season. And as you all know, Solskjaer has identified the areas where he thinks Manchester United need to strengthen up. Obviously, he wants to bring a centre-forward in. He also wants to bring a right winger in. He wants to bring a midfielder in. There's still some reports emerging out saying, he's looking for someone to go alongside Harry Maguire in our back line. But I'm actually sceptical that Manchester United will sign a centre-half when the transfer window does reopen. But yeah, so he's identified the areas where he does want to strengthen up. And Solskjaer did insist recently that we will exploit the transfer market when the transfer market does reopen. Because like I said, teams are going to be forced into selling some of their players to generate money, because a lot of teams across the world are under financial pressure due to this coronavirus pandemic. So let's just put that into the equation. But like I mentioned before, I think Solskjaer does deserve at least a couple of more windows at the football club, because he's still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team. Because like I've said to you, analysing the vast majority of this team, it isn't Solskjaer's. The vast majority of this team is Jose Mourinho's. Because like I mentioned, Jose Mourinho recommended 11 players into the football club. And there's still 9 of those players here now from the Jose Mourinho era. And I give you the main explanations why it didn't work out under Jose Mourinho. And Jose Mourinho is the longest serving manager we've had since Ferguson's retirement, because Mourinho endured 2.5 years at Man United. The reason it didn't work out is because he had bad disputes with the board. He had bad disputes with the top players. The board weren't backing the signings that he wanted to recommend in. So this is why it didn't work out under Mourinho. He did win 2 trophies in his first season. He won the Europa League and the League Cup. I think the highest we've actually finished in the last 6-7 years is second, and that was in Jose Mourinho's first season. There's still a couple of players here from the Louis van Gaal era. I think there's Martial and Shaw, maybe there's someone else I haven't mentioned who's still here from the Van Gaal era. But like I mentioned to Van Gaal did recruit a hell of a lot of players in when he was Manchester United manager, and Van Gaal, did endure 2 years at the football club. We did win the FA Cup under the Louis van Gaal era. But yeah, he did, recruit a hell of a lot of players in. I think he recruited a good, 15, 16, maybe more if I'm right. He also, got rid of a hell of a lot of players. I think he got rid of a lot of players, that we had under the Alex Ferguson era, did Louis van Gaal. And obviously, we've still got Matty from the David Moyes era that Solskjaer's inheriting. There was Fellaini here, but he left back in January 2019 and that. But, it does take some time for managers, to get things right and settle in and that. And like I mentioned, Jurgen Klopp didn't settle in straight away at Liverpool. It took him time to emulate to a level that he's at. When we recommended Ferguson in from Aberdeen in '86, he didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club. And don't forget, our board, we're talking about, sacking Ferguson. He was 1 game away from getting the sack, but he didn't. And then look what Alex Ferguson went and accomplished. Look what he went and accomplished. Won the vast majority of our silverware under Alex Ferguson. And Ferguson, is one of the greatest managers of all time. Definitely one of the greatest managers of all time. But Ferguson did endure 26, 27 years at Manchester United. Solskjaer, won't, replicate Ferguson's legacy, but I don't think any manager, will replicate Alex Ferguson's legacy, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. So let's just put that into the equation. But I think maybe within the next 2 to 3, maybe 4 years, we can win the title, because we haven't won the Premier League since 2013. So last time we won it was in Alex Ferguson's last season. But don't forget, we are the most successful team in England, because we have won 20 titles, 13 of them Premier League titles, and some United fans are very sceptical that we can get our 21st title under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era, but we'll have to see what happens. But like I said, we're one of the biggest clubs in the world. Like I said, we've got a fantastic history behind us. Obviously, one of the club's greatest achievements was obviously, back in 1999 when we won the treble. That was thanks to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. That's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's most iconic moment as a player. Don't forget, we won 3 back-to-back Premier League titles back in 07, 08 and 09. That's obviously, when we had a fantastic attacking trio in Rooney, Ronaldo and Tevez. Maybe, if you can say if we kept them, or kept at least 2, maybe even one of them, maybe we would have won more Champions Leagues, maybe we would have won another Premier League title by now. That is definitely debatable. But like I've said, Solskjaer does deserve more time at the football club. Obviously, this season we've enjoyed our worst start ever to a Premier League season. For 30 years we've enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season. But these things I credit Solskjaer for, like I mentioned, is, the players he's brought in so far. He's also got rid of a lot of the deadwood. We have seen a total of 9 players leave Manchester United since Solskjaer came in. Of course, we saw Ashley Young leave this year after he endured 8.5 years at the football club. He went to Inter Milan. We saw obviously, Rojo go out on loan to Estudiantes this year. He wants his loan extended with Estudiantes, does Rojo, because obviously, like I mentioned, Rojo's our 6th choice centre-half anyway, so even if he was to come back, he wouldn't get into the team. Obviously, Smalling last summer went out on loan to Roma. And I've got to make an admission, I think, Smalling has done very, very well since he's gone out on loan with Roma. I'm very, very sceptical that we'll take him back at Man United, and Smalling did endure 9 years at the football club. Obviously, we saw Darmian leave last summer. He went to Parma. Valencia left last summer after he endured 10 years at the club. We saw Herrera leave last summer. He went to PSG on a free transfer. Herrera endured 5 years at the club. We also saw Fellaini go in January 2019. Like I mentioned, Fellaini endured 6 years at the club. And last summer we saw Lukaku go to Inter Milan. And we saw Sanchez go out on loan to Inter Milan. There's been reports emerging out saying that Sanchez could be set to stay at Man United and see out the remainder of his contract. The main explanation for this is because Sanchez is refusing to take a pay cut. Dean Henderson, he's out on loan. Don't forget, I think he's also expected to come back as Dean Henderson after his loan spell with Sheffield United. Maybe he won't. Maybe he will go abroad, or maybe remain loyal to Sheffield United. Because if Dean Henderson comes back to Man United, he may not become our number 1 goalkeeper. David De Gea could remain our number 1 goalkeeper, because De Gea's been our number 1 goalkeeper for several years. So credit Solskjaer for that. He's got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he's come in, and Solskjaer's planning to get rid of around 5 or 6 players when the transfer window does reopen. So I think our transfer budget is around 200 million, is it? When the transfer window reopens, that's how much Solskjaer's going to be given to spend, around 200 million. But we can get rid of players, our transfer budget will increase, so that is very, very good news. We was in a good run of form as well, form before the football season got suspended. Don't forget, we are unbeaten in our last 11 games in all competitions, so that's also a positive, and we can get some silverware on the board this season. Don't forget, we can get some silverware on the board. We can win the Europa League. We are into the last 8. We can also win the FA Cup. We are into the quarterfinals, because we haven't won out yet in terms of silverware under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. We are sitting 5th in the Premier League. We're just 3 points behind Chelsea at the moment. But I'm very, very convinced, that we can get qualification for the Champions League. Got to say as well, I think Solskjaer has promoted the youth very, very well. because the young players have been given their opportunities this season, which is obviously very, very good to see. And like I mentioned on one of my videos before, I think there's quite a lot of players that have got long-term futures at Manchester United. So let's just put that into the equation. Let's just put that into the equation. But there again, these some negatives, you can take from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tenure. Like I mentioned, his approach to the small games haven't been so good. Meaning, he's been tactically naive and he hasn't really had a plan A or plan B. Totally contrast, to the ones against the big teams though, because his approach to the big games, Solskjaer's, have been very, very good. Like I forgot to mention, I think we've registered like 17 points this season against the big six sides. Solskjaer's record has been disastrous since he got the job permanently. Solskjaer got the job permanently, reflecting on what he did in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. He's inexperienced as a manager, so that's also another element of concern. But the longer Solskjaer remains in the Man United job, he's going to be gaining more experience. We was facing a relegation battle earlier on in the season, let's be honest. Because Solskjaer obviously got Cardiff relegated. That's why he'd obviously got sacked from Cardiff. He enjoyed a really, really short tenure with Cardiff. Last time Man United were relegated was back in 1974, was it? Which was 40 odd years ago now. Last time Manchester United were relegated. I think last time we were relegated it was under Frank O'Farrell's guidance. I think, was it Ron Atkinson who came in after Frank O'Farrell, if I'm right. But yeah. So yeah, I'm still sticking with Solskjaer for now. Obviously, there hasn't only been problems with the management throughout the course of this season. Obviously, we've been criticising Ed Woodward a lot. We've also had, we've been doubting the club's ownership, the Glazers. I think the Glazers have taken over £1 billion out of the club, since they came in back in 2005. But yeah, I give you the news about Ed Woodward earlier on this week. He is no longer involved in our recruitment process, which is very, very good news. Woodward's been here since 2012. Man United, like I said, have been very, very critical of him. Woodward, of course, has fired 3 managers, in the last 6 or 7 years. He's got no intentions as well of appointing a director of footballing because of the thinking behind Sir Alex Ferguson. So let's just put that into the equation. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.